back in the spot. I'm ready to make shit pop. And now it's time to take over, cause I ain't nobody doja. I say the word, they move. Bitch, chestnut checkers, you fool. I say the word, they move. Bitch, chestnut checkers, you fool. I'm back in the spot. I'm ready to make shit pop. And now it's time to take over, cause I ain't nobody doja. I say the word, they move. Bitch, chestnut checkers, you fool. I say the word, they move. Bitch, chestnut checkers, you fool. Swerve.
YouTube, this your boy Oscino Fly back with another review, and this time we are finally reviewing Coming to America, the sequel from Coming to America. Now, if y'all ever seen my preview of the trailer, y'all already know how I feel about it. I don't feel like this movie needed a sequel. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Been watching this since I was a little kid. It's a classic to a lot of people. It's just one of the most amazing story written movies, or is one of the most amazing comedies ever. You know, like everything you've heard or said about the original Coming to America, how much it's a classic and all that, I feel the same way. That's why it's my favorite movie of all time. So when I was hearing that it was making a sequel, I wasn't for it. I don't know how many people was asking for a sequel for Coming to America, but I wasn't. I thought the story was fine where it is. It's just some things just don't need a sequel. So what do I think about the Coming to America sequel? That's what we're here to talk about. There are going to be spoilers. I'm not going to go through the movie like through and through, but there are going to be things that I'm going to be referencing in the movie. But if you haven't seen it, it's free on if you have Amazon Prime, so it's not like you're going to be paying for nothing. So there goes that. But it is going to be some spoilers. I am going to be referring to a lot of things in the movie, so it's going to be a lot of spoilers. So let's start with the things that I liked about the movie. The camera work and the cinematography. I think the movie is shot beautifully. I feel like whoever did the camera work on there like really got the essence of Zamunda and Queens. And I really like how it was very well shot in Zamunda. It made Zamunda, even though it's a fictional place, it made it look real beautiful, look really high class, and look all royalty. I love the wardrobe in the film. I feel like everybody was dressed to the nine. Everybody who was there, even the people from the Queens, but especially from people of Zamunda, the way they was dressed, it was just like you wanted some of the fabrics, whether it's for the women or for the men. I feel like everybody there was dressed very perfectly, and it's just like you really cannot, except for Black Panther and maybe probably some other movies. I feel like there's a lot of lovely outfits that in there is just like I want that for myself. Another thing I liked about it is the characters old and new. Now I like seeing some of the old characters where they are for 30 years. Like now from 30 years ago. Eddie Murphy is still funny. Arsenio Hall is still funny. I like that they brought back at least 99% of the characters, like Sherry Headley, John Amos. I like the fact that Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy did some of their own characters, like the barbershop, Randy Watson, the pastor. It's just, you get, like when you see them, you're gonna smile. I'm not gonna, like, even if you don't like the movie, you're gonna at least smile for a lot of those characters, especially some of the older characters. I do wish that Samuel L. Jackson was in it. I know Mae Sinclair has passed away, may she rest in peace. I feel like, I don't know why, I wanted Cuba Gooding Jr. in the chair when the barbershop scene. I personally like, cause he was in the original one. I don't know if anybody remembers, but he was in the original one when they were in that barbershop. I've been like, wouldn't it been cool if Cuba Gooding Jr. was still in that chair? I'd have put that reference, I would have definitely tried to put that reference there for Cuba Gooding Jr. Maybe even give him a speaking role, but you know, it is what it is. Some of the new characters, some of them are really good, and some of them are really Leslie Jones, I know a lot of people, like, she's 50-50 with some people. I thought she was fine in here. Tracy Morgan, I do feel like he does play, even though I do feel like he does play the same character every time. At the same time, he wasn't bad in this either. I thought he was pretty funny in his scenes. Eddie Murphy's daughters, I felt like if Eddie Murphy would have had kids, they'd all look like them. So that's saying something. So like, there's a good mix of old and new characters. Another thing, there are funny moments. Even though like when I'm going to fully deep dive into what I don't like about it, for now, I will say this: there are funny moments in there. There are moments in there that's going to make you laugh. There are moments in there that you're just going to be like, I remember this. They call back to a lot of stuff from old movies and you're going to be like, oh wow, I remember this. It's just, oh wow, like it's just, oh man, oh they called that back, oh snap. And then you're going to have a lot of like, remember what South Park called memories. Remember this, remember that, and all that. The movie points that out. It's a good and a bad thing, and I'll get to why it's a bad thing. You're going to like pop for a lot of stuff that's in there. You're gonna be like, remember, like one of the scenes I thought it was funny is the point where Vanessa Bell Calloway's character, remember in the other one where he had her barking like a dog? Like she barked like a dog, and then you see it 30 years later, she's still barking like a dog. But I think a lot of people do forget that she did act like a monkey too, but I'm glad they went with the dog thing and not the monkey too, because people would have definitely not flown. I see why they went with the dog and not the monkey, because it was definitely not flown in this time of era. The her bouncing up one leg and like a monkey and stuff. That won't fly today. Even though like a lot of older people would get it, it's like, but I can see like Twitter and like having a fit. Matter of fact, they was already having a fit with Vanessa Bell Calloway. It's like, so I see some people like, y'all brought her back 30 years later, she's still barking like a dog, and then to me it's just like, it makes sense. To me it's just like, it makes sense. But that's just me, and that's I at least thought that was some funny stuff. The barbershop, like I said, is very funny too. It's like when they go back to Queens and you see them, it's like a lot of people feel like they probably should have died or something like that. I felt like that too. But at the same time, it was good seeing them. And it was a very hilarious bit. So, take it or leave it. Another thing is the passion for the original film. Now, when I get to the what I don't like about it, y'all gonna think I don't like the movie, but for now, when I say this, I'm glad there was some passion put into this movie. I'm glad this is not a cash grab. I'm glad this doesn't feel like a straight to DVD film, even though the story might be straight to DVD-ish. I'm glad it doesn't have that effect of, oh, I just need this to get money, so I'm just gonna make this. There's lots of love put into it, like from the wardrobes to the dancing to the choreography, even to the music. There is a lot of love put into this. Like, you really want this to be, I feel like Eddie Murphy really want this to be good. And even like they were saying, it's like they wasn't going to touch it. Like they wasn't even going to make a sequel unless, because even they thought it was fine the way it is, unless you really would like to see something updated and it would make sense. So I can understand, like you can see it all throughout the movie, like the passion, the money, the budget, etc. All that, it's in there. So don't look at this as like a quick cash grab for Eddie Murphy, because it's not. It's definitely a lot of love put into this. The next thing I want, now that I've got through all the good stuff, we are now going to get into what I do not like about it. And believe me, there are some things that I do not like about this film. I understand that this was never going to top the classic, so I'm not coming in as like, oh, this is better be just as funny as the first one. I think I explained this in my last video. I wasn't expecting it to be as funny as the first one, but I did want it to be funny, and I did want it to be replayable. So I'm not coming in like, oh, this is as funny as the first one. I'm comparing this on his own movie. But the way the movie is set up, you do kind of have to compare it to the last movie, because they reference everything that happened 30 years ago in this movie a lot. So, get to what I don't like about what I do not like about this film. The story. I do not like the fact that he had a bastard son. I do not like the fact that how he has come up of this bastard son. I felt like this story was like, because everybody was wondering, like, how the hell does he have a bastard son and he only like slept with, he only like had relations with Lisa? And even in the original movie, this is what I mean when I'm referring back to the original movie, like, it only showed like him having relations with Lisa, him chasing Lisa. Like, he done denied a lot of other girls that wanted to be with him. So the story that they got is like in the club, which they do reference in the back of they actually go back to the club saying, which by the way, the de-aging thing, I know some people find it creepy, some people think it was cool. I thought it was okay. It was nothing out of the ordinary, but I thought it was cool. But that's just me. I know some people don't like it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I think the de-aging thing, I know Will Smith did it for his movie. It's going to be a work in progress to where I think it's going to get it perfected. But from what I've seen now, it was really good. Arsenio Lady is in the club like trying to pick up girls. He meet Leslie Jones. She gives him the weed and like they have sex. And that's like how, and I guess they didn't wear a condom. So I guess that's how he ended up having a child in 30 years. So I don't like the fact that he had the bachelor. But I guess they needed something to go back to Queens. I personally feel like if he should have just had a son instead of just being a bastard son. Also, and I know I said I like most of the older new characters. Shout outs to Jermaine Fowler. I feel like he's not a bad actor, but I just felt like he was the most uninteresting character in here. And the story is kind of about him. Like 3/4 of the story is about him. And like him trying to fit his way into like this royal kingdom from him being like a street hustler for like 30 years, you know, trying to make his way. I felt like he was the most uninteresting character. I felt like Eddie Murphy's daughters, I felt like they should have had more talking roles. I felt like, especially Mika, because I felt like they was more interesting than Jermaine Fowler, whose son, his name is Lavelle Johnson. And that's a problem. And to me, I think a lot of people find this a problem because he is 3/4 of the movie. And you kind of like want to know more about Akeem and his family than the whole bastard son thing. So I feel like that not only he was the most uninteresting character, it took away from other characters. You know, I felt like it should have been focused on like Lisa McDowell, the kids. Hell, even John Amos, because he has a little scene, but I don't know if they want to overwork him because of his age. But I do feel like they could have involved them more. The next thing I didn't like about it, like I said, things in the movie conflict the old. Like the whole bastard son thing. The bastard son thing is the one thing that conflicts the movie. Another thing is them being in Zamunda and women can't have jobs and all that other stuff. And like Eddie Murphy, Akeem is, you know, when Akeem in the first movie he was a rebel. He kind of like wanted to be his own person. He really didn't follow tradition. To where in this movie he's following tradition. Like it doesn't make sense for it's like that was the reason why you went to Queens. That was the reason why you went to find your bride. And like now, even though there was like trying to be a forced marriage in there, because you know the whole thing about Nextdoria and all that sort of stuff. That's another thing I didn't like about the story either. Even though Wesley Snipes was funny, but I just realized, like, watching it the second time, the name is Nextdoria. How the fuck does that pass? So that's another thing you really like gotta look at. But I will say this: Wesley Snipes was funny. There was a lot of things like him trying to keep the tradition just because he needed to have a son. When you could obviously his daughter was like ready to take over in case you know her being the heir to the throne in case Hakeem passes away or something like that. She was obviously capable and strong and like real, like she was badass. Like if you've seen the part where her fighting Wesley Snipes is badass. But even the stick scene with the daughters in the other one, like you could tell he raised a badass daughter and all that other stuff. Like I said, it's a lot of things that conflict with the story. There's a lot of things where like you're going to be like, that doesn't really, that definitely like contradicts what happened in the first part of the movie. So you're definitely going to see that a lot. Lowbrow humor. I'm a fan of immature comedies. Like some of the immature, like the Will Ferrell Step Brothers, any Will Ferrell movie. Like it's just lowbrow humor and all that other stuff. I kind of do like, but there are some things where you kind of look like, why did they put that in there? Like there's a scene where like Lavelle had to get whiskers from the lion, and the lion like was asleep, and then he just lets out a big fart. I was like, why was that needed? There was another scene where like before Leslie Jones sleeps with Hakeem, or Leslie Jones and Hakeem have sex, she takes a candle and then like puts it near her vagina and then starts wafting it at Hakeem's caressing, talking about, you want some pumpkin pie? I don't think that was needed either. So I don't know if that was improv or she was just doing that. I personally did not like. I thought that was like, if I'd have seen that myself, I'd have been like, ugh. It was like, who the fuck does that? And that's what I felt like in that scene. I'm like, who the fuck does that? There's a lot of lowbrow humor. I felt like it didn't need it, especially because the first movie did not have none of that lowbrow humor. So it's just like, why would you put that in this one? So like the farting and that whole wafting thing, I just was not with it. This movie shouldn't have been made. Like, I'm gonna forever be on this movie shouldn't have been made. They even referred to that because it was just like, there was a scene where like Lavelle and his barber, who was a female, who was a woman, and she's very pretty too, and they had this conversation about movies and sequels, like how like, and they kind of take a shot at things like it's about superhero stuff and like sequels that don't need to be made and that nobody wanted. It was just like, you must be talking about this movie. So in that scene, you're like, oh wow, they really threw a jab at this. So, but at the same time, if you really didn't like it, you're just like, that's what this movie is about. Also, and this goes on to like conflicting stories and stuff too. I don't like the fact that I felt like, at least I know King Jaffe Joffer was still on his deathbed, because you see him, James Earl Jones, King Jaffe Joffer was still in his bed. But I feel like in them 30 years, something should have happened where like Akeem should have been like taking over or like ruling the kingdom as the kingdom in Zamunda. I felt like when they said women wouldn't have no jobs, it happened in the back of my mind is like, so what was Hakeem doing all this time? And also Sherry Haley's character Lisa, that delegated to being a background character to where like, and just sitting there half the times until like the scene where she get drunk and all that stuff. It was just like, this is not the Hakeem I know. This is your father speaking. This is not Hakeem. Like, it makes sense, but it feels like she shouldn't even have to do that. Now, I like at times where like this is a woman, I felt like she should have had more in speaking role too, because like you went there to find your bride to have an opinion, and yet sometimes she just sit there too. Like she'd sit there and says nothing. I was like, this is not the Lisa, not this Lisa that cursed out Daryl in the first movie because she was doing something without her knowing. Like that should have, like, it should have been like, I wish they would have gave her more of a speaking role. But like I said, it's more or less about Lavelle and all that other stuff. Lavelle and like him finding his way to be king. And like I said, I feel like that character should have been treated better. Like I said, Eddie Murphy's daughters, I feel like they're more interesting. I feel like they should have had more speaking role. And I'm not saying this because they're black women, but they was obviously more interesting than. And this is not no shade to Lavelle, because I feel like for what it's worth, he did a good job. Even with that shitty ass fade wig, he did his job. Like even in the beginning, I thought he was funny. The scene where like him and Duke from if y'all understand that reference, where him getting a job interview with the white man, y'all will understand. Like he was funny there, but through the rest of the movie, he was just not that interesting. Overall, what do I think about the movie? It's funny. It's cute. My father said it was cute. It's funny. It's cute. You're gonna have a lot of nostalgia. You will laugh. But at this, is it coming close to the first movie? Hell no. But it's not. The movie doesn't suck. I will say that. The movie doesn't suck. When I finished it, I did have a smile on my face. It did look like they had a lot of fun making it. And it did look like a lot of passion was put into it. So I at least appreciate that. Does it have replay values? I will say yes, but you won't watch it as much as the first one. The problem with the last, the thing is that this movie has no quotables. Except for Uppity Bitch Say What, but like that's an old fucking joke. And that's what another part of lowbrow humor that I mean, like Uppity Bitch Say What. It's just like, people was doing that for, like when I was a child. When I was like in a team, and when I was a child, they was doing that. It's like something say what, and then they go what. It's just that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of there's some hits, but there are a lot of misses to where this movie could have been so much better and like written so much. But there are parts in here that you will laugh. There are parts in here that will make you smile, and the parts in there that will make you remember, and you will love like the passion that is putting into it. I just wish the story was better, and I just wish they cut all that lowbrow humor. Part of me wish it was rated R instead of PG-13. Like, it doesn't have to be raunchy as the first one, but at the same time, there is something about, like, I don't know. Like, I'm okay with fart humor, but when it's random and it's not needed, it doesn't make sense. But let me know what y'all think. Did y'all enjoy the movie? Did y'all like the movie? Do you think it's coming close to the first one? I have a friend that thinks it's better than the first one. I don't know what he's smoking on, but that's his opinion. He can have it what he wants. I liked it. I would say this. I liked it enough that I will watch it again, but it's not coming close to the first one. But I think I already knew that it's not coming close to the first one, so I'm not disappointed in that. Let me know what y'all think. Till then, my name is Oscino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.
Fancy ass man wear glove and rings, flying around town in a tub of wings. Found out how to make love to fiends. He mixing that fuzz with the drug of dreams. She too teenage to have a drug of choice, but she fuck with that Royce like she love Detroit. She rollin'. Pharaoh.